Yes, yes. Welcome to the ancient world of tabletop games. I am Agamemnon from the historical documentary Time Bandits. This is a report from a fugitive. Many board games on my shelves are as advertised, complete. The games I bought then are still the same games sitting on the shelves now. All is right with the gaming world. Certain games are upgraded, though. I buy unusual third-party tokens, outre coins, and arcane accessories along the lines of miniatures or in-box storage solutions made of wood, plastic, or the solidified tears of woeful unicorns. You have to wait ages for the unicorn to be naturally upset and gather the tears on a strategically placed cloverleaf, built 3 times the usual size purely for this purpose. And that is a board gaming fact. A game with many components and disorganized storage needs a fix. Disorganized storage is another way of describing the box. Loads of counters, bare box, chaos reigns, a good box insert and organizer speeds up play by decreasing the game's setup time. Ideally, you'd set the game up ahead of play and start as soon as your players fall through the door. This isn't always possible. When there was no time for time, you'd press-gang your players into sorting out piles of counters in a scene built for comedy. Not great comedy, bordering on tragedy. Yes, that's part of the gaming atmosphere, but it tires quickly, and we turn to fixing things inside or outside the box. The basic storage solution is to use plastic bags. Another option is to employ a see-through box with spaces for everything. In the world of role-playing games with armies of miniatures, you reach for fishing tackle boxes or tool boxes before you splash out on the official custom-built merchandise. That's for reasons of storage space and size, as well as price. This Games Workshop monstrosity has seen 2 entirely different collections stored inside it, none to my satisfaction. I'll use it for something else. As a massive gothic first aid kit, perhaps. I should clarify that Games Workshop is the political wing of Citadel Miniatures. There goes an unseen servant locking the vault behind me. I bought that Goliath as an experiment, a Frankensteinian one. There's a gelatinous cube for a sense of scale. Not something I ever thought I'd say, except lately I've been saying it more and more in these videos. You'll pardon the snowstorm in some of these scenes. The mausoleum attracts dust like you wouldn't believe. It is listed in the Dungeon Master's Guide as Bigby's Mausoleum of Dust Attraction +3, and that isn't a role-playing fact at all. I bought far cheaper toolboxes on the basis that they are shoved on a shelf with little difficulty. The vault here has to sit on top of a bookcase. I believe if it fell off that lofty perch, then the floor might just survive the impact. Away with talk of adding to medium or large games. Would I ever upgrade a tiny board game, though? A pocket-sized travel game doesn't need a mausoleum like this. That much is obvious. And yet, there's room for improvement. Here's a very tiny game, Hippo. It demanded a very tiny storage solution. I can't stand sorting through detritus. The era of vast piles of counters on the table is a thing out of antiquity. If I have to store bits on a table, I use wooden bits for those wooden bits. Or for cardboard counters, coins, whatever. It's a matter of taking a handful of counters from a storage box and dropping that handful onto a mini-stage for convenience. These days, if I pile small fiddly counters on the table, it's done for video production. I'm inclined to put those counters in a bag when choosing them randomly, for example, so there's no need to place them face down on the table for random selection. Too bothersome. Away from the video studio, making house calls as the board game doctor, I'd use all sorts of storage solutions to save time and make the best use of the space in front of me. Generally, we're talking about medium-sized games with enough counters, bits and pieces to fuss over. Take away the fuss. And that is the fuss of a box of game components jumbling itself into randomness during transportation from secure shelf through the insecure streets to a reasonably safe gaming table. What is this tiny game and why did I buy it? Send your swimmers to hang out with a hippo or something. It's a racing game with a vague swimming theme and a hippopotamus at the end of it. Pocket-sized. For once, the loose description is accurate. I believe pocket-sized means your game will fit into a coat pocket easily, and this next part's vital. The game will emerge from your pocket without let or hindrance. As with almost all pocket-sized games, it has these essential qualities. Small, easily transportable, quick to set up, quick to play, quick to put away, easy to learn, easy to teach, easy to play, inexpensive, and it fills the time waiting for the other game. That's what a filler game is for. playing while a few friends sit chatting, shooting the breeze, awaiting the arrival of the full complement, that one wayward player, and then the main game can begin. You're filling time before another game. Hippo easily serves the purpose of filler. It is light and frothy with nothing much to it beyond rolling dice and getting lucky with those dice. And there's no harm in that if you know the score going in. Why did I buy it though? Always have a short game handy for a quick change of pace. A filler game covers the end of a night's gaming if the main game finishes a shade too quickly. However, the game provided an opportunity to make a video. No, not this one. After much delay and at least 3 video studio revamps, I planned a now and again series of videos on playing games with someone who has Tourette Syndrome. My collaborator, Melissa, has the obsessive-compulsive disorder often associated with Tourette Syndrome. In her case, she faces number fixation problems with 3 and 7.
Why it is that I am finding these numbers so important when really they're just numbers. I was telling someone about my OCD and about the number 3 and the number 7 and how everything has to be in multiplication or addition of some kind of construct of 3 and 7, like 3 times 3, 3 times 3 plus 3, 3 times 7, 7 times 7, numbers that are acceptable according to those base numbers, and if they aren't acceptable according to those specific numbers, then they aren't okay.
Watching reviews of Hippo, I saw the game featured a positive result from rolling the number 7 on 3 dice. This was meant to be a short test of how Melissa deals with those numbers in a game setting, and we'd blunder through more advanced games after. You must start somewhere, so start off with a filler game. If her OCD cripples her ability to send swimmers to frolic with a hippo, at least the game is short. We learn quickly it's entertainment, not torture. Except, of course, life got in the way and we skipped the basic game here in favour of Pandemic Hot Zone over there. I'm quite prepared to abandon a video of a game if I'm told this isn't working out. If all we learn is that we learn from a mistake we're not going to repeat, at least we learn that much. Obviously, we hope to learn more. Rather than open a series of Tourette/OCD gaming videos with a game that doesn't feature numbers at all, I thought it best to tackle the issue directly. Then, filming something else entirely, we just avoided tackling the issue with a sledgehammer and a tin of nitroglycerin. Yes, numbers are still present in Pandemic. If the numbers in a board game aren't okay, going by Melissa's OCD, can they still be okay in the game? In Hippo, ideally, you're rolling the number 7 on 3 dice. That's the best result. If you don't get that result, you still advance your cause. Swimmers head across the pool in a race no matter the result. Could Melissa make that work for her, softening the effect of the obsessive-compulsive disorder? Yes, no, maybe. Something to return to should the twinkling stars align in our favour.
Like, I don't like the numbers 3 and 7. People think that I like 3 and 7. Hey, you really like those numbers, don't you? And I'm like, you know what? I don't. I don't like any numbers. There were no numbers that I liked, and 3 and 7 aren't numbers that I love. They're numbers that rule my life and control me and make it so that I can't live outside the boundaries of that little box. So I loathe 3 and 7, but I have to live by them because otherwise my anxiety grows to the point where I can't deal.
How did I upgrade this very tiny game in its very tiny box? I added very tiny plastic bags for the colour-coded counters. This takes the fiddliness out of setup. Admittedly, there wasn't much else I could do to upgrade the game. 3D print a hippo? It would have to be a flat token to fit inside the box. The counters are thin, and yes, I could arrange for coloured plastic chips along the lines of tiddlywinks. My recollection of those pieces is that they were always made of the thinnest, brittlest plastic known to humanity. I'd end up replacing very thin cardboard with very thin plastic. Not so great. It's such a slight game that I don't feel like splashing out on heavy-duty plastic counters. There's only so much bling you can bring to a game. The smaller the game, the less need I feel to cover everything in gold leaf. The really nice plastic tokens cost more than the game itself. I've been window shopping down that street before. It is a street paved with gold, but it is also a one-way street in the sense that the gold goes to the shopkeeper. If the game is to make a splash with its presence, then it's going to be a symbolic one when the dice send cardboard tokens into the pool.